Beyond the Waves is a Hail Hail Media production. It may contain sweary words and adult situations may be discussed. If you're in the company of underage Tims, turn off the show now and listen back later. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, email us at beyondthewaves67@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at BTW Celtic Show, or check us out on Facebook and join our group at Beyond the Waves. Hail, hail, and keep the faith. Welcome to the Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. My name is Graham Wilson. Once again, so glad that you've joined us, and we're going to commiserate once again. Just not exactly what we expect. Not exactly up to the high standard that Neil Lennon has set for this side during his managerial tenure, especially in light of the success that we've had thus far this fall in Europe. You know, we've seen to be coming onto an about face of sorts where, you know, earlier in Neil Lennon's tenure, it was claimed that he couldn't, for some reason, get a result in the games that mattered. And now it seems as though things have tilted exactly the polar opposite, where our form is exceptional in the big games. Obviously looking at Wednesday, very big game, huge atmosphere. Taking the league table standings thus far aside, going into Tynecastle is always going to be an emotionally charged event. It's always going to be a big occurrence. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, especially considering they are the cousins of William. There have been some altercations at that ground. I mean, pretty much perennially, almost to the point or even exceeding the sort of bile and vitriol that you would expect from the now deceased Rangers. So, team turned up on Wednesday, looked fantastic. Figured, you know what, we've got it sorted. Build a bit of momentum. We have the tie this weekend. It's going to be at home, and we can sort that out and then get ahead of steam going into the game against Spartak. What we saw today was extremely disappointing, especially in light of the result. But there were some positives to look at. Believe it or not, you're probably laughing to yourself. You're probably thinking, you know, I got to be completely mental. But I've got some things to point to and some perspective to inject, because it had a bit of a different sort of flair to it. Obviously playing the youngsters, playing some of the second team, there's lots of folks sort of explaining away the result today as this is our second team going up against Arbroath, the second division side, a reserve team for Celtic. You know, in a lot of ways it wasn't. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here, okay? First off, Tony Watt is a perennial starter in this starting 11. I mean, he's shown his quality. So he's not a reserve team player. He's not a second team player. He is part of our first team, full stop. Okay, Miku. Miku was brought in on a high-profile loan deal this season and picked up the number 7 jersey, which I just, unless a player is going to be with us for an extended period, I don't want anybody having that 7 jersey. I mean, it's like the kiss of death. He's a first-team player. We had Victor Wanyama. He's a first-team player. We also had Scott Brown playing once again, which, Scott Brown has his defenders, and, they tend to get very emotionally charged when anybody seems to question why he is still playing. Lots of charges going out. Well, there's lots of people who think that they're the manager and think that they're the doctor and they can make these decisions. Well, Ryder McDonald is not in the employ of Celtic Park anymore. We don't have a doctor. So for those who say, well, the doctors have cleared him to play, what doctor? We don't have a doctor. Not full time, not full fully merited on staff. So, a lot of the Scott Brown saga that's developed here over the past few weeks, especially, has been the result of watching him deteriorate in front of our eyes. I mean, he played 60 minutes against Benfica, and he mouthed as he was walking off, "I'm fucked." So let's just sort of dovetail down the Scott Brown scenario as it currently stands. Scott Brown has a degenerative hip injury, which is career-threatening. Not necessarily in an immediate fashion, but certainly you would think is going to take years off of his career. When you have a degenerative injury of such a vital bone structure, that you need playing football, that's going to take years off of your career. It's degenerative. He could sit on his ass eating Fruity Pebbles all day, and it would still get worse, let alone playing 90 minutes, 60 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, training, whatever. And any sort of compensation that he's making, because he's not fully there with that hip, puts other muscles, bones, etc., in risk of injuring them, further lengthening the amount of time it would take him to return to the starting 11. And I just don't think that he offers enough to put all of that into jeopardy. Now, the folks who, want to stand by Scott Brown continuing to play, they can say that we're not seeing what we're seeing all they want. But we are seeing it. He is dramatically losing effectiveness, his ability to chase down balls that the Scott Brown of old would have absolutely no problem with. Loads of slack passes today. Of course, I'm going to have my eye on him, and I'm going to point him out. I'm going to select him simply because it's a question. I'm not picking on Scott Brown. This isn't personal against Scott Brown. I want him to get fully fit. Once again, he is important to us when he is fully fit. When he's not, it's a liability. We had Kyle on the bench. Kyle played an excellent game for me on Wednesday against Hearts. And I'm sure that we're going to be counting on him on Wednesday, especially with Wanyama not being available through suspension. So it's a bit confusing. Joe Chalmers came on. Love to see him. The word on him is that his service into the box is exceptional. He's got a sweet left foot, very good from dead ball situations, a bit like Charlie Mulgrew. And I think he did quite well, for his first start with the big team, and had a decent account of himself. Dylan McGeoch, who I've referenced as the Derek Riordan for Neil Lennon. I mean, it seems like somebody's grand is going to get subbed on before poor Dylan, but he finally got the start today. I think he did quite well. He was in and out. There were some moments of sheer genius from him. Other times it looked, he hid a bit, but it was definitely good to see him back in the starting 11 and playing at all. I would probably pass a lot of maybe some of the shortcomings today as game rust that certainly would fall away as he gets more game time. And of course, can't forget Weerab Raibu Ibrahim, the wee man. Haven't really seen much of him. Towards the end of last season, we saw him in a substitute's role in a couple of situations. Showed a bit of skill here and there. But today, I thought we saw something from him. Creating the chances, I think, is an outlet for him. I think that's a vital way that we could really use him. But his finishing is absolutely shocking. There's a couple of shots that he took that I think are about to come down. And, I can almost understand that and explain that. It's his first start. He's trying to show something. He's eager to impress. And his technique and some of his skill with the ball at his feet was extraordinary. And I think that that's something that we've been lacking over the past several weeks. Something that's going to come in very handy. And I definitely see an outlet for him in this side. Thomas Ronya came back. Wasn't the greatest for me. Wasn't terrible. But the knock on Thomas Ronya, and especially considering the amount of quality that we have at center half, just think to yourself. Celtic right now are stacked at center half. I mean, it's just to say it is it's strange. But comparing Thomas Ronya to the quality that we have, not so much Kelvin Wilson, but certainly F.A. Ambrose and to a certain extent Victor Wanyama, Ronya's passing from the back is suspect at best. And, that can be limiting, especially when we're trying to build from the back, especially when we don't have a Joe Ledley there right in the middle of the park who, can take the ball from the defense and build it up from the back. And, but it was good to see him get a run out. He's obviously perennially not fit and picks up the phantom calf strain for this and that, and it was nice to see him make it through all 90 minutes and not have any issues, and long may that last. So, Skype lines are open, as you could probably tell from my just opening up the Skype. The Rev is not going to be joining me today, and I'm under strict reprimand that I cannot share what he is up to, but he is on assignment. We'll just leave it at that. So, all the best to Rev. Very big day, and we'll I'm sure be joined by him next week, and he can tell us all about it. But all the best to him. Skype lines are open. You can add us as a contact at Beyond the Waves and get Skyping in. It's free. It's a free call, and there's loads of folks just interesting on Twitter at the moment, and over the past several weeks, really, who seem to make it their remit to admonish and shout down anyone who has any sort of critique on each of these performances and likes to reference the fact that this team, in one consummation or another, beat Barcelona, and therefore we should never have anything critical to say. And any sort of critique or criticism at Neil Lennon is akin to calling for his head, which is absolutely false. I'm just absolutely done with it. Fair enough. There's people, and I may be included in that list as well, who take it a bit extreme, a bit overboard in their criticism after a loss like this. But you can't blame people for being upset after watching shit football week after week. You can't. You can't explain this away and say that this is fun to watch. It's completely shit, and people have a right to complain about it if they want. God bless the 36 people who actually went out to Celtic Park today. They're the ones who should be complaining. They spent the money, they spent the effort in trying to get out there, and once again, just a completely unacceptable result. There were slices of positivity. I think the trajectory is going in the right direction. We'll just put it that way. And that leads me to be somewhat positive. But Arbroath, we can't get a result against Arbroath. That's just unacceptable. It breaks down to a lack of composure in the 18-yard box. A lack of composure, a lack of focus, especially in finishing. We created the chances. 19 shots on goal today. 19. That's the most we've had since we beat St. Mirren 5-0 in October, where we had 25 shots on goal. 12 of those shots were on target. Speaking about the St. Mirren game. Today, we only had 7 shots on target. 7 shots on target out of 19. I saw a tweet from Yampi a bit ago, which I thought was absolutely excellent. Miku hit more bars today than Gaza on a bender. Yeah, Miko was a bit unlucky, very wasteful at times. I thought he had a couple of exceptional chances that, for whatever reason, fair play to the Arbroath keeper who made some tremendous saves today and got a bit of the rub of the green, if you will, from the crossbar. Obviously, if you hit the crossbar, you didn't score the goal. Wasn't good enough. But Miko wasn't far off on several occasions, and that's just the way it goes. Was a bit confused, I guess, by Neil Lennon's comments after the game, where he basically attributed the result to a lucky break, a lucky bounce from for Arbroath's goal. When Celtic's goal was the result of one of their center halves plonking the ball off of the ass of the other center half. I think that's a bit ill-advised to make that sort of comment. But joining us now, all the way from the friendly confines of Castle Milk, otherwise known as Catholic Milk. He's got more nicknames that I care to even highlight, but we'll just stick to the main one. It's the Parrot. Hail, Parrot.
Yo, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know what? Surprisingly, I'm not. I got a lot of tweets right after the game like, "Oh Jesus, Graham's gonna absolutely have a conniption. Somebody needs to talk him down." I'm not all that infuriated, and I'll tell you why. And give me your thoughts on this. Now, we had a run of games there where, I mean, it looked as though, obviously we weren't getting the results, but it looked as though there weren't any ideas. We were failing to break teams down. And many of those situations, we would have Charlie Mulgrew, Victor Wanyama, Joe Ledley, and Scott Brown in the midfield. So essentially we'd have 4 central midfielders, or you could even say 2 central midfielders and 2 center halves in the midfield. Only 2 attacking players. It can't be a surprise that we're not creating chances during that time. Let's break down some of these numbers from these games. I'm just trying to figure out what specifically is going on. We see it with our own eyes. Our eyes don't deceive us, okay? And people can call for us to have to stand behind Neil Lennon and praise Neil Lennon no matter what. Well, listen, I stand behind Neil Lennon. I just want to make sense. I want to make heads or tails of this. If I understand it, then I get far less mental. So bear with me. Starting off, we'll go back to... Let's start before the Barcelona tie, because that, I think, was really the bellwether, and I'll tie this together here in just a second. Actually, we'll go back to Dundee, back in September. Dundee, 2-0 result. We had 23 shots we had 23 shots, 11 of them on target. Okay. Motherwell, that was a 2-0 result. I'm sorry, 2-1. No, it was 2-0. 18 shots on goal, 12 shots on target. You have 12 shots on target, you are going to score. Hearts, 1-0, 14 shots, 5 on target. A little anemic. St. Mirren, 25 shots, 14 on target. Exceptional, right? And we're going out and we're trying to play attacking football. And many of those games, James Forrest was available. Let's not kid ourselves. We had more of an attacking sort of spark to us. And combined with a Samaras that's slashing in from the left-hand side, we are always going to have that tempo and transition. Then the Barcelona tie takes place. Unfortunately, we lost the first leg 2-1. Home to Kilmarnock, we lose 2-0. 7 shots total. 7 total. 2 of them on target. Next week, Dundee United away, 2-2. 7 shots total. Again, 3 on target. 1-1 to St. Johnstone, 13 shots, 3 on target. Aberdeen, we got the win, 11 shots, 3 on target. Lose at home to Inverness Caledonian Thistle, 11 shots, 3 on target. Now, we won on Wednesday, 9 shots, 5 on target. Had good opportunities, took them, put the ball in the back of the net. Today, 19 shots, 7 on target. So we did create the chances. We had an anemic run there where we weren't even creating chances. Forget finishing. You can't finish chances that aren't even presented to you. So that's sort of the crux of my sort of silver lining attitude towards this. It wasn't acceptable. The finishing wasn't there, and the result stands. And I think for a large stretch, many of the players were trying to see out a 1-0 result instead of continuing to attack and putting the game away. And that comes down to mentality. But when we have the chances, and we saw a different sort of setup, more creative players, more attacking players. We saw McGeoch, who I thought in stretches was absolutely phenomenal, and Weerab, I think, displayed a lot of potential as well. Tony Watt went missing throughout large stretches of the game. I'm not really sure, how to make heads or tails of it. And Miko at times was incredibly wasteful, in spite of the fact that he probably should have had 2 goals. What do you make of this game today, and just overall? Let's take a big picture aspect. People want to talk about the macro. We're still top of the league. We're still in all 4 competitions. We have it all to play for on Wednesday. Yes, macro, everything looks good. Micro, things are a bit worrying. And if you allow the fundamentals to wither, if you get into bad habits on the training ground, if you don't take care of the small pieces, the macro will whittle away before your eyes, and as quick as lightning. What do you sense about this game today, and where's your mindset and the overall broad picture? Your thoughts?
Well, I thought I could talk to you, man. I was like in 10 minutes there, mate. I was going to get the melon words on. No, basically, all I'd say was I think Jason made a great point in the Homeboys the other night, is the fact that all the games you've mentioned there, Graham, it's like Celtics had to play different formations, tactics against Barcelona, Benfica. Obviously, Hearts the other night was a great game, and I went, wow, we're back, sort of thing. Obviously, I didn't go today, and can I just say, mate, I don't know what feed you listen to on, but I actually, for the first time, heard the cash and carry nonsense that Celtic TV broadcast to you guys. And I tell you what, mate, I'm not going to swear, right, but there's no many things worse than the product on the pitch today. But for the love of God, I didn't realise how bad it was to send you out there. And I sent a tweet and I said, I thought it was Bert and Ernie doing the commentary. And they were being so disrespectful to our bro by saying, yeah, we'll get this in the bag and then we can move onwards and upwards. So if that's the mentality of the 2 ball bags sitting commentating on the game, it's hard to call, mate. I mean, as I say, it's I'm trying to stay positive, G. I mean, obviously there's a lot of... You can't tell me that team's running out there and not seeing they who shall not be named, because it's a touchy subject at the moment. They're not seeing the guy sitting in the corner giving it loud with drums and flags, and that's got to make an effect, mate. I mean, as I tweeted earlier on, it's there was incidents of stewards walking about and chasing guys up. I'd like to think, I'm just trying to stay put. Somebody made a great tweet. No big injuries today. Let's just get everybody into Celtic Park on Wednesday night, crank it up, and let us get us into the last 16, mate. And as Jason says, after that, Europe's in the bin for a few months, and we can just get a set of 11 players who are fit, and you're going to have guys who are playing to play every week. They're not worrying about, right, I've got to take it easy because I've got a chance to play in the Champions League. If you're going to play shite in the next, after what happens on Wednesday night, there's a roll of games coming up over the cold winter period. If you're in the team, stay in the team. And obviously the Scott Brown areas are, I mean, you've talked about it, and other guys in podcasts have talked about it, it's a grey area. I'd like to see, if you're in that team, you stay in that team until basically there's blood coming out your arse and you're running to the ground, or you play a shite game and you're replaced. But we've got, I mean, as I've said in other shows, that I think the problem we've got at the moment is I thought there was a Fenian hot time pub machine today, the stadium's empty, there's protests going on and it's cash and carry nonsense.
There were chants coming from the corner, give us the pies. They shut down the pie stand in the southwest corner.
It's never that bad, you ask for the pies that are there, mate. Oh, you hit me on. Jesus Christ.
That is dour.
If the Commonwealth Committee come in and look for the health eating stamps that are going to be across the road, legislation's coming in this country that you've got to actually tell people how many calories are in a product and the salt levels and sugar levels. You've probably not seen that. I nearly said something really controversial and I'll retract myself. But let's just say it would be like the menu at the Great Escape sort of thing, with the food intakes at the stadium. As I say, there's a lot of disfaction, and there's obviously there was a nice touch by Neil Lennon with meeting the fan before the game with the aggro for last week, and that's just feeding the media, Graham. Yeah. I'd like to say it to do, because I don't know if the boys on Twitter sort of thing. A guy actually pulled me up for talking on here a couple of weeks ago about I was too critical of the board and stuff like that, and I just like
he's never listened to the show, I guess.
Well, you know what I mean, mate. If you buy into this cash and carry charade, you know what you're getting, mate. You know, fair play. You don't suck MD Ingram. You tell it how it is, the way the rest of the boys do. And I just like to come on and have a bit of banter and stuff. There's nothing serious and whatever. But no, I'd like to think. I'd like to think. We're starting 11 ready for Wednesday night, and obviously,
Yeah.
when you can. I thought I'd like to apologise to Benham Kyle because I thought I've been on his back the last couple of months, and I've come out and said stuff like, "Oh, when he's fit, he's fancying a move to England, and then when he's injured, he loves Celtic." I thought he was excellent on Wednesday night and against Hearts, and hopefully he'll get a start on Wednesday night against Moscow. And
I think he has to.
You know yourself, though, mate. Moscow's in the position where they're absolutely in the bones of their arse at the moment. But we've seen over the years, guys who have never scored in 100 games in Scottish football come to Celtic Park and hit a 50-yarder. You know?
Yeah. You know what? Lots of great points there. Lots of great points there, Parrot. First off, I don't think that the result today takes anything away from my optimism going into Wednesday. And you hit it on the head there where Spartak are reeling at this point. They've lost their manager, Unai Emery, who I have a very high regard for in terms of his body of work and the style of football that he tries to play and was trying to institute there at Spartak. I think they had some key injuries that may have affected them. But make no mistake, he lost that dressing room. Judging from the reports, they're stacked with complete and absolute nutters. To the point where I think to a certain extent, maybe some of them have chucked it. And listen, let's be honest. That result the other day against, I guess it was yesterday against Zenit. That Zenit team are no mugs. You see the form that they display in the Champions League, and then even domestically, they're made up almost entirely of Russian internationals. That's essentially the Russian international team with a few odds and ends mixed in here and there, but there's quality throughout. That's a very, very good Zenit side that they went up against. But with that being said, there's a couple of silver linings here as well. This is very out of character, Parrot. I'm sure you're just confused as could be. The fact that me, I'm bringing out the silver linings. So usually it's everybody else talking me down from the ledge. It's completely the opposite this week. We're in a situation now where Spartak Moscow, a lot of mouth coming out of that side. They love talking. We heard the comments from them before the Champions League even started about how, they going up against Celtic, they don't play the technical way that Spartak Moscow likes to play. And, coming from a smaller league, well, we put them right in their place. Many of the players have come out with just shambolic statements, if I can use that term, Richard Swan, statements in the press in the wake of Unai Emery leaving. It seems as though that side is in complete disarray. They might look at this, Celtic went up against Arbroath and they couldn't even see it out. They might lower their guard just a bit. I think to a certain extent they're just trying to get through this game and be done with it. Not much left for them to play. I mean, they're essentially eliminated at this point. So they are eliminated. So, that can have a silver lining. And then, our friends from Lisbon, Benfica, who like to talk about, them being the best and the greatest club in the world, in spite of the fact that they can't even fill their own ground for a Champions League night with everything to play for. But they might look at this and say, right, Celtic, they're not going to get a result. We're going to go into Barcelona and everything's going to be great. So, we might have lulled our enemies into a certain sense of a false sense of security, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, not to a large extent, but that element is there, especially with these two sides being made up of a band of nutters that like spouting off in the media and have a very high regard for themselves. Well, that being said, once again, we had a scenario here where the focus and the composure in the final third just was not there. We couldn't finish, and it looked like we would get the tempo built and we'd carry the ball into the box instead of, we're going up against Arbroath, instead of running right at a man and getting past them or trying to utilize our skill and our technique, we would cut the ball back and try and send passes through traffic that would get broken up or, our first touch wasn't there to try and control the ball and come up with quality opportunities to put the ball away. That's something that needs to be sorted because that's a consistent theme even throughout, some of the previous weeks where we had, even a Gary Hooper or Lasad on there. And Neil Lennon himself even mentioned it. Our teeth in the final third were just it's just lapsing, and that's something.
I've got two words for you, Graham. Sorry to interrupt you.
Good.
Paul's favourite player, the Sheriff, the Black Van Basten. He'd have been on 30 minutes, Chief. What's going on?
Is that what we're missing? I mean, do we need the return of the Sheriff?
Mate, he's like Al Green in Sweden now. He's smooth, knocking the goals in. you know, it's you make very valid points. I think you missed the goals like Tony Stokes into the edge of the box, or like he can scuff in the corner, mate. You know, as I say, it's a traumatic time for the club, and obviously today didn't help. And there's a lot of people getting the agendas at the moment with various things going on. But as you say, and listen, mate, it's fantastic to hear you so positive, and the bold rev. I've got a sneaky feeling what he's up. I've seen him tweeting the love of my life, Karen Gillan. They're at. I know it's happening. I wished her a happy birthday the other day. Then he jumped in the bandwagon. Oh no, I'm your number one fan. I love Celtic, but I love Karen Gillan more. I don't care what MD says. But how's the flight situation looking to be? Going to be looking at February or March?
It's off. I was. Thanks for bringing that up. I was trying to get over for Hogmanay or New Year's, or whatever the listeners would like to call it. I was trying to get over for the Hibs away and the Motherwell at home, and unfortunately, all the flights are booked. I waited too long, and it's a bit of an element of not knowing whether or not I could get the time off. My next window of opportunity, which I'm going to be shooting for, is going to be February. And, at this point, I just don't know. First off, they haven't released any of the European scheduling for February. Obviously, we don't know if we're going to be in the Champions League or the Europa League. We don't know when we're going to be home, when we're going to be away, who we're going to be playing against, etc. So until that happens, I'm going to be sort of in a holding pattern here. And then when that all gets sorted out, hopefully we can figure out the timing and make that happen, because I definitely want to be there for a European night. To be honest with you, I don't even care if it's Europa, Champions League, whatever. I just want to come over, experience the European atmosphere, and then stay for a bit longer, and hopefully take in a home SPL tie, or even, I'd even travel.
You know, as soon as you book it up and you come over for a game, that you'll be back in May with the lads from New York for the Champions League final at Wembley. That's where I fucking go. You win the game, you drink work fast, and all get arrested.
Breaking the bank. Superb.
In case I get cut off, you have to get rid of me. Can I just thank Chaz Duffy, Big Frankie Fraser, and Declan? They've done us a really, really big favour, mate. I'll tell you off air. I'll text you. They just thanks very much. And Paul's and the wee Polly's in the chat room, and hopefully there's some of those magical stickers coming your way with your Celtic Christmas cards. I'm going to shame myself and buy some official produce. I don't know if the Green Brigade autographed the Celtic Christmas cards now. They're in charge of everything else at Parkhead, But no, as I say, Polly's just put in the chat, mate, that the League Cup finals in March. I mean, the later you leave it, if you come over in February, obviously the our cash and carry heating systems in the pitch, the games will be froze off. You'd end up in birds for a week.
I'm not scared.
That's a bad thing. So,
I'm not scared of the cold.
If you, whatsoever, but yeah, mate, you're going to get yourself over, as I say. Even if out the box, fly up to Toronto and fly in straight to Glasgow. You know what I mean, mate? I mean, it's easy to get about here, mate. It's nothing like wearing a balaclava and a Green Brigade t-shirt and sunglasses, or Alex Salmon will have you in the plane to Cuba with orange overalls on before you know it's hit you.
We'll have to sort out one way or another. We'll get it taken care of, and I'll be over before too long.
Is Mrs. G coming, or is it just yourself?
Yeah. She'll be flying as well, and she's not going to miss any of this for sure. And in fact, I think she was pretty disappointed when we couldn't get the flight over for New Year's. I think she was looking forward to the Hogmanay. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't want to be cash.
It's actually, I'll let you in a little story actually. Hogmanay, it's like when my old man started working, he used to have to work Christmas morning to get the New Year off.
Oof.
It was like a pagan holiday. The New Year's always been the big Scottish thing, but mate, you got all the tartan terrors coming back, like Sean Connery, the Crankies, a Loch Ness Monster. They'll want to sit in Princess Street in Edinburgh underneath that cash and carry castle drinking hot pass. So you and Mrs. G come to the best city, but once it calms down a wee bit, sort of thing. I'll get Paula to make you some. Canmore Kate come over. But you were missed. You and the lads were missed last week, sort of thing, mate. It was a good night out. But hopefully Paul will jump on at some time or whatever happens. But it was a great night out, mate. It was really, really good.
Yeah, and Paul's going to be joining us on the show next week, the Green and White writer, Paul Larkin. We're looking forward to that. It's always good crack when he comes on, and always love hearing what he has to say. And I'm looking forward to getting his reflections on the night as well. It seems like it was just absolutely phenomenal. I really regret not coming over for it, but
well, it's great. Obviously, I was out serving the cuisine with the lads in the team scheme, the cash and carry cafe, but I sort of thought I had a grasp on who was all there that night because various folk were coming out for food. But it wasn't until I got home that night and Paul put the blog up and that went, Jesus, I never knew he was there. Or like Billy Noel, the guy who puts the videos up and that was there. But no, as I say, the lads for the Carluke Shamrock, the video they produced was fantastic, and Jim for Celtic Braves and all that. It was really, really good, mate.
Fantastic, Parrot. Thanks so much for calling in. We're gonna open it up for anybody else that'd like to call in and vent and just share our thoughts. But we really appreciate you calling in, and we'll speak to you soon.
Okay, my man. You can text. I've not got that scoundrel aroused number, but text him and tell him I'm on to him. The Parrot's so happy.
We'll do, pal.
Right, love to cross McLeod Kelch, and I'll talk to you soon, pal. You take care. God bless.
Cheers. Hello.
Hail, mate.
That is Stephen Monahan, a.k.a. the Parrot. Good crack. And you can find him on the Homeboys. I think he was doing the Homeboys Down Under, the Australian show for a bit. So he's everywhere, the Parrot. Popping in with the cash and carry and the Mellow Birds and everything. It's wild. So always good to hear from him. The Skype lines are open, as I mentioned. So, get in touch. Let us know what your thoughts are. Izzy Gary came on as a substitute for Joe Chalmers in the second half. I think that was reasonable. Get him some time. He's obviously coming back from an injury. Want to see where he's at in terms of the recovery. With that being said, I don't think he offered much when he came on. It seemed as though he has lost a step. Again, that's just game rust. Hopefully that he can shake off and sharpen up sort of his technical ability as well as his pace. Get that back. Get the confidence back with the ball at his feet. And then his service was today was just absolutely atrocious. That is the one knock on Wee Izzy. That's why, in my opinion, he hasn't gotten that big move south. Is that he puts it into Rosette far too often than we'd like. I think we also missed Charlie Mulgrew on set pieces and Joe Ledley. His ability to just prowl around the box like a ninja. Especially on those in swinging corners, and hopefully he's just being rested for Wednesday. A lot to be positive about. Like I said, we went through a rut there where we weren't even creating chances for ourselves. I mean, 7 shots total. We had 7 opportunities where we kicked the ball at the goal, and we had games. One stretch. We had a stretch of 4 straight games where we only had 3 shots on target. If you only have 3 shots on target, you're defending. It better be absolutely doing a crackerjack job, because otherwise you are not going to get 3 points. You're just not. You can't have that expectation. And further compound that with the fact that we're going up against SPL competition. We want to sort of pat ourselves on the back for our European form, and that's all well and good. But this is what I've been talking about over the past several weeks. You cannot play the same way that you play in Europe in the SPL. You can't. You have to be able to play. You have to be able to adapt to different competition, to different playing conditions. The pitches are not going to be as good in the SPL. The defense that you're going to be going up against is not going to be as good. The refereeing is not going to be as good. The players that you're going up against are going to be able to get away with far more. So you need to be able to adapt. Now, fortunately, the template is there. I mean, prior to the Barcelona game, we saw it. St. Mirren 5-0. 25 shots on goal. 25 shots on goal. St. Mirren are no mugs. St. Mirren are no better than Inverness Caledonian Thistle. They're not better than St. Johnson. In a relative sense. Not better than Dundee United. But we need more attacking, creative players on the pitch when we're playing in the SPL. We are the Barcelona playing in these SPL ties. Not the other way around. We need to act like it. We need to play like it. I think there's some confusion there. I think, it's at a certain point, everybody is accountable to this, but Neil Lennon, I think it blew his mind, beating Barcelona like that. And for whatever reason, he is looking at that template as the way to play consistently. Charlie Mulgrew in the midfield with Victor Wanyama, Joe Ledley, and Scott Brown. In the SPL, you got to be kidding me. We're going up against teams that are just sitting back waiting for us to come at them. And we're not going. We need James Forrest back. That much is without question. And from a formation standpoint, we seem to have fallen back into that just squalid 4-4-2 consistently. Going up against Hearts, what happened? 4-3-1-2. Chris Commons was phenomenal playing against Hearts. Let's talk about the Hearts game. Forget this Arbroath. Sounds like a medical condition. Suffering from a bout of Arbroath. So we come out in a 4-3-1-2, which, there's this idea, there's this concept that the 4-2-3-1, even the Christmas tree, is more of a defensive structure, because you're going to be playing with 6 and sometimes 7 defensive players. But when you look at it from the standpoint of where players are positioned, that's why tactics are important. That's why formations are important. We can have the same 11 players out there, but if we are playing in a more of a Christmas tree or a 4-3-1-2 like we were against Hearts, it's completely different. Chris Commons roaming that link-up area in between the midfield 3 and the strikers did a phenomenal job. When he's on form, it's spectacular. We only had 9 shots on goal, but we had 5 on target, and they were good opportunities. That's the difference. But we could have had those same 11 players out there, played a 4-4-2 with Chris Commons out on that right wing, as we did over several weeks, and it's going to be completely ineffective. That's the importance of tactics. That's the importance of the formation that we set out with. One can be extremely effective. It can spur the players on. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The players get out there, and if Chris Commons is out there on the right side, and he doesn't have the belief that he can beat a man with his pace, and he doesn't have confidence in that right foot, he's going to get frustrated. It's natural to expect that. But if you give him license to roam through the middle, to do that link up, and do what he does best, of course he's going to be encouraged by that. Of course the spirit is going to be raised. That's what we saw. Finishing was excellent. And look, let's be honest, Hearts was absolutely atrocious. A lot of the Hearts supporters after that game were furious about the team's effort, and rightfully so. They were terrible, especially in the fullback positions. They gave our wide players license to just run rampant. And what I loved was, we're seeing, and this is something that I see a lot watching German football. Where the fullbacks, they do cut the ball back once they get to the top of the 18-yard box, but then they cut in almost centrally and have an attacking midfielder slash out wide, almost like Pedro and Messi do sometimes with that crisscross. Although it's facilitated by the fullback, he comes in, finds a slashing attacking midfielder going across his path, sends it out for him, and he can peel off the defenders and then slot something in for one of the supporting strikers. We saw that a bunch of times from Lustig. And Kyle was actually making the slashing runs, which typically, we've seen Ledley do that, but and we've seen Wanyama do it as well. But he was exceptional with that, and I like seeing Lustig getting involved more in those sort of attacking, creative outlets. You take a look at Lustig, right? He's got the mustache. I know, I got a lot of cheek talking about somebody's mustache. Don't worry, it came off. I'll tweet you proof. But you look at Lustig. I mean, what is he? 6'3". He's a little bit lanky. Just kind of looks goofy. The haircut, something a little SS about him. But anyway, he doesn't look like he looks like a classic fullback. But more in a defensive light, using his size, not overly pacey. But I like the ideas that are coming from him now. That's what we need, especially when we're going to play more of a narrow system. And 4-3-1-2 is going to be narrow. You need your fullbacks pushing up to provide that width. And he was doing it. So I liked a lot of the ideas. So Skype lines are open. Like I said, give us a call. Shout out to Big G from the Celtic Dream Show at Celtic Dreams 12 on Twitter. Good patter, good crack in the chat room every Friday night, pretty much. And really appreciate the tunes. For me, it would be the afternoon, but over there it's in the evenings. He's typically on 7 to 10. And so, shout out to that. If you haven't listened, get listening. Zaluska was out there. It looked like Zaluska dropped. He might have dropped a stone. I almost didn't recognize him when we first picked up the ball. Got a nice little haircut. No more of the mullet. That sort of Eastern European mullet. It's like, ooh, you don't hook up much, do you? He looks good though. He cleaned himself up, lost a little weight. He was almost like a mini Boric for a little while though. With the, because Boric had that weird haircut with the tattoo down his neck that looked like an earpiece with the cord coming down. He looked like a Secret Service agent with that stupid tattoo. And Zaluska, Boric would put on weight, Zaluska would put on weight. Boric would get a goofy haircut, Zaluska would get a goofy haircut. It's almost like Zaluska now is morphing into like a mini Forster. And he lost some weight, cleaned himself up, real nice. He's going to be talking with a Geordie accent in no time. We're now joined by Yampy, all the way from South Jersey. Goodfellas CSC. Thanks for joining us, pal. You're live.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, pal?
I'm hungover.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Man.
What was going on with you last night? I got some tweets from you. You got the kilts out. You got, you're going nuts with it. What's going on with you?
My wife gave me a free pass to go out last night. It was like jailbreak time. You ever you haven't done something in a while and all of a sudden you do it and you just do it a little too crazy?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. I think I'm still peeing Jameson. It's only been about 24 hours.
Seems reasonable. Did you happen to did you catch the game today?
Yeah, in various stages of different hazes and everything, but it was definitely helping me get a little bit of sleep. It wasn't exactly like that Man U Reading game that was on.
Yeah, just what Man U needs. They're rumored to be in for Robert Lewandowski, another striker. That's just what they need.
They can't defend worth a fuck, but let's just put more players on there for multi-billion-dollar contracts.
Sure, seems reasonable.
But yeah, I mean, I watched it. I saw that beauty goal we got. That was nice off the ass of another Arbor player. A little bank shot off the ass. Yeah.
Good geometry there, though. A very solid hit. I mean, Yeah,
they couldn't. I don't think you could try to do that again if they wanted to. That was it's sad to say. That was the one thing that kept us from being out of the cup. That's pretty lame, actually. How about Miku? I mean, do you think he could have missed any more chances today?
You had the tweet of the day where you talked about Miku hit more bars than Gaza on a bender.
That's true, man. He hit the crossbar. He said he hit everything but the fucking net. I mean, it's just put the goddamn ball in the net, dude.
Yeah, he was a bit unlucky, but he needs to be sharper than that. You're absolutely right.
He seems like he's a little whiny, too. I don't know. Maybe that's just my perception.
You know what? I picked up on that as well. It seems as though he drops his head. There was a couple of times where he'd miss a shot, it'd go off the bar, it would be back in play, and I'm yelling out, get back on side. And he just sort of drops his head and walks back, and it's like,
It's like taking these big looping turns and everything. It's like, the fucking play's still going on, dude. You might want to get back into it.
Yeah.
Seriously? I mean, he's definitely a moody dude.
Yeah.
I thought Ambrose was all right today.
Yeah, Ambrose, a couple of nervy. See, Ambrose is afraid to have the ball at his feet, especially in traffic in our own end, which, is a bit nervy, especially when you think back to Big Dan or Glenn Lubins. But he does have the quality there, and he can pick out a pass. It's extraordinary. He is a good find. I knew it. I knew it from the beginning. He was going to be a star, and I was right. I'm always right.
Yeah, he had the. Well, he had that clunker against Benfica over in Lisbon and everything. I thought that he was a little bit of a turnstile there. But other than that, I mean, Ambrose has been nice. Wanyama running up the middle today was gorgeous. I mean, he's just it was like a jailbreak.
I agree.
The dude just was just leading the charge up the middle, distributing passes and stuff. I mean, it was nice. It's just a damn shame he won't be available for Spartak.
Scott, we did everything today except score. Which is the point of the game. It's why they play. It's what the game is based off of. Our finishing just wasn't there. Do you think if we had Gary Hooper out there today, the result might have been a bit different?
Oh, I don't know. If I say anything bad about Hooper, I'll have the Hooper super fans busting my balls again and fucking crying about that. Oh my God, he because he scored that fourth goal against Hearts.
Yeah,
he scored the fourth goal against Hearts, and I was like 2 minutes before that, I was ripping him, and I was just like, oh, see, get it up, ye, get it up, ye. It's like the dude scored for the first time since fucking Jesus was crucified, and all of a sudden I'm a bad guy. I can't. I stated the obvious. Truthful, he's just a fucking tizzy.
Yeah, Twitter is an interesting place sometimes. Where. I was with you, where Hooper got a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. I mean, he did absolutely jack donkey balls for 80 minutes, and then all of a sudden he scores, and that negates the fact that he was awful previously. It doesn't. Yes, he scored a goal. That's what he's there for. Long may it last. I hope he scores 3 more. But it doesn't change the fact that he was awful in the first half. Get it up, ye.
I mean, it's like, when did it become a fucking crime to just state the obvious? I mean, it's like, is everybody that goddamn sensitive? Like, seriously, the guy was played like shit. Let's call it what it is.
Listen, there's people who are on Twitter who have made it their business, who have made it their mission to critique anyone who or try and shame anyone who has any sort of criticism of this side. And I think there's a subliminal sort of subconscious need in order to make themselves feel better. But the reality is, that's what Twitter is. That's what it's there for. People are there. They're going to vent. It's never going to stop. You might as well go outside right before the sun's going to go down and yell at the sky, because it sucks when it's dark. It's going to have exactly the same level of effect. You're not going to change Twitter by going out and saying, you're not a real supporter because you criticize Neil Lennon, which is essentially the same thing as calling for his head. I've seen maybe one tweet in the past 3 weeks that said sack Neil Lennon, and you'd think that everybody's calling for his head based on the outrage. It's ridiculous.
Fucking God, it's like people are just like, oh, we are all Neil Lennon. Like, he fucking got yelled at by some kook, and he even made up with the guy today. The dude has a kid. He seemed like probably just a normal guy. I get yelled at every fucking day by kids. I'm a teacher. It's like, when did it become a problem to disagree with someone?
Yampy, they'd make it 5 minutes in Lincoln Financial Field.
I mean, are you serious? Like, you can't disagree. Say, okay, maybe the manager didn't have a good day today. All of a sudden, you're anti-Lennon. You suck. You become all of a sudden, you're like a metaphor for the fucking idiot at Tynecastle that jumped him.
I know.
I mean, it's like, are you serious? Grow the fuck up.
I know.
I mean, why so sensitive? But yeah, I mean, would Hooper make a difference? I don't know. I mean, you can play that game all day. Would Stokes make a difference? Would Forrest make a difference?
Yes.
It's just, we know we know he would. But again, he rolled out the B team. Say what you will, he rolled out the B team. He put Scott Brown in 65 minutes.
Well, listen, I hear you. There were some second team players, but this team on paper should absolutely throttle our Broth. Okay, I
get it, dude. But you know what? The sun shines on a dog's ass at least once in his life. Okay, it's part of the game. Occasionally, a team is going to have a clunker, especially when you roll out the whole fucking bench. He had 9 changes in the lineup today. 9, okay? He has to assess talent, and this is the perfect time. Would you rather run someone out there and get a key player and get him fucking hurt? I don't know. I don't want to see him hurt. I need them for Spartak, man.
You know what? You're absolutely correct, and it's just poor timing that this would line up this way. I don't think this the context of how he played was awful. To judge from the reactions on Twitter, you would think that we had 0 shots and
right.
we had no possession. We had a lot of the possession. We created the chances. We couldn't finish. But the trajectory is going up. We had a downward trajectory there where it looked like things were getting worse. We were getting less creative. We were getting less opportunities. Today, I thought we had many more opportunities with, some B team players. But interestingly enough, I thought the B team players were probably the best of the bunch. Who played. I thought Izzy was far too ineffective, and coming back from injury, no question.
You said Zaluska looks good. I think he kind of looks like he's put on a few pounds.
Still fatty. Well, the black is not. It's not slimming.
No, I mean, and it's cool. I've been the one barking about Zaluska getting a game, at some point, because you can't keep running a keeper out over and over and over and over. And I remember someone on Twitter said, "Oh, Brad Friedel." And I said, "Well, what has fucking Brad Friedel ever won? Seriously?" I just remember him as
the shiniest head contest in Toledo, Ohio, I think in 1999.
Yeah, that was well, whatever, man. I mean, it's the fact that you know his career, that's awful. I mean, it's Brad Friedel.
Thank you.
You understand Brad Friedel, but here's the thing: you need to rest your keeper. You need to rest players. You can't keep grinding them out. Eventually, you're going to get an injury, and then everybody's going to turn on Lenny and be like, "Why the fuck did he put him out there in a game that didn't mean shit?"
Scott Brown, is he going to play on Wednesday? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yep. You seem less than pleased.
His fucking pelvis is going to fall off, dude. He's going to lay on the ground. And everybody's just going to look at him and be like, he's going to be like Jabba the Hutt. He's going to turn to Blob and shit. Eventually, he's going to have to get surgery.
We're going to have to take him out to pasture and shoot him, Old Yeller style.
So man. But you know what? It's tough because he brings so much. There's a tangible difference when he's in the game. Tangible difference. The attitude of the players is better. He's a warrior. He leads by example. I love Scott Brown. But here's the problem. He's running on a fucking shot pelvis. He's got to get the treatment for it. And I think after Spartak, that's what's going to happen. But, yeah, I think he gets a run out.
Scott, thanks for calling in. Before we let you go, prediction for tomorrow night, Eagles-Cowboys. Do you
really? You're going to do this with me? What did I say last night? 31-13. I made it was like 30-22. I even fucking fell asleep during that disaster.
See, now they're just screwing with you. They're like, hey, we might have a shot. Nope.
I don't know. I mean, I might have some good luck. I mean, I got my jersey and everything.
That's true. So you got the Bobby Sands 81. It came through anyway. They told you they weren't, and they did anyway. See?
Yep,
got some power. We got some power on this show. They're listening. They're listening.
Somebody had to be listening because they were adamant about, you're not getting the Bobby Sanders jersey. You're not getting the 81. It's a political statement. We don't do political statements.
Shout out to the Celtics supporters, the Celtics Superstore. Shout out. Obviously, they're listening, so really appreciate it.
And it's good because they show they're not Hibernian 2.0. I mean, it's like they have a history that they're proud of. They have people that support the club that look favorably upon all the sacrifices made by certain people and done for certain reasons. And it doesn't just extend to just Irishy type things. We talked about it last week with the Palestine and everything. Everybody has their own feelings, but this club is different because they're not afraid to support political things. And that's what makes Celtic unique. The supporters don't shy from the politically incorrect sometimes.
This is a foreign object, no pun intended, for us because we have the First Amendment. I mean, you'd never hear something like that in the U.S. I mean, maybe for profanity, you couldn't have fuck balls, in the back of your jersey or something. But you could have Sans 81 or whatever. They put on whatever you want, even if it's political or whatever. You could sing whatever song you want. My
MLS club's the Union and everything, and I talked to some of my friends who are also Celtic supporters that support the Union, and they were like, it's pretty unbelievable that you had to wait all that time and jump through all those hoops and everything just to get a name on a jersey when it's you could get, like you said, with no profanity, but pretty much anything else on the back of a jersey in the States. And I mean, it wouldn't even be a second thought. It'd be like, whatever. I had someone tweet me yesterday, and they were like, you couldn't wear a jersey like that in Scotland.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Scotland.
It's amazing.
And that's crazy. I mean, you're allowed to be the person that you are. I mean, if that's something that's important to you, why should other people be allowed to sit there and try to compromise that? I mean, that's bullshit.
Well, and, there's also all sorts of, when you get into the business of trying to regulate and limit what people can and can't sing or say, which is absolutely, I mean, I made a comparison this week, I'm waiting for Kevin Bacon to show up in a VW Bug outside of Glasgow. You can't sing? You're not, singing is illegal. Please. And then I'm sort of I'm confused about there's a section of even the own Celtic support who say, well, they sing Irish songs and the Irish rebel songs, and they know that's against the law. First off, I'm no matter what your opinion is on that topic, I'm not going to throw my support behind some law that was created specifically to marginalize our own support and then criticize these boys for singing these songs, for breaking that law. That's a bullshit law.
Dude,
Secondly, the amount of hypocrisy. I mean, I've tried to stay out of this. I'm going head first into it, okay? There's plenty of people who, come out on Twitter and elsewhere, well, they shouldn't be singing the Irish, rebel songs because, it's inflammatory and it's against the law. Well, you know what? I bet you dollars to donuts if you went into that stadium and you were singing Palestinian songs, nobody even bat an eyelash.
Right.
And these people who are making these claims, so the Green Brigade should be ashamed because they shouldn't be singing those songs. Well, and then they go and retweet all sorts of support Palestine tweets and everything else. I mean, the double standard here is it's shocking.
My thing is Celtic has an obligation to support its supporters and not kowtow to clubs like Rangers or whoever, or the SFA or whoever the fuck is in charge, or whoever, we can't, we're offending somebody. Big fucking deal. Didn't they used to call Celtic supporters the offended? Now every little fucking thing offends their supporters. The Tannoy guy, oh wow, he made a joke, let's get him fired. It's like, are you fucking serious? Like who's crying now?
Well,
come on, man. The club has to stand by their supporters. That's what makes a club worth supporting, to know that they have your back.
Well said.
It's like, stop worrying about public perceptions and everything. Fuck that. These are the people that put money into the powers that be that run the club's pockets. And if you don't stand by them, that's shocking. I'm an Eagles fan. They had a jail in Veterans Stadium. You practically had to kill somebody before a cop even looked at you cross.
I know. That's why I said, these people wouldn't last 5 minutes in Lincoln Financial Field.
Sing a fucking song? Are you kidding me? Literally, you'd have people punching each other's heads in, and the cops would be like, all right, guys, break it up, dust each other off, you'll be okay. It's crazy. And the clubs say, we don't like certain songs, bullshit. These are the people who fucking buy the product. And if you sandbag them, that doesn't speak highly of the people running the club. They have an obligation to get the finger out. There's my Scottish term for the week. Get the finger out and support the supporters. Stop worrying about who the hell is who thinks, who might I upset? Who might they upset? Green Brigade is fucking awesome. Say what you want about them. Yeah, everybody else goes to the match and whatnot. But there is a tangible difference between when the Green Brigade's there and when they are not.
Well, and in addition, let me jump in here. There's been an outcry from some talking about, the Green Brigade is all about themselves, and it's only, the Green Brigade, brings it on themselves by the songs that they sing. You know what? They're
all YouTubing their fucking all the TIFO every time they hang up that they spend and generate all that money and use all that time to make all them banners.
Well, and then they're boycotting. The point is, now they're boycotting and they're hurting the team. Well, you know what? They're boycotting not for their own cause. They're boycotting for the cause of the Celtic supporters in general. They are Celtic supporters and they're being abused. They're being harassed. They're standing up for all of us. And for somebody who calls himself a Celtic supporter to have a go at them, because they have high profile. And, there's this mentality of anybody that sticks their neck out, people want to have, a swing at. It's absolute nonsense. They're standing up for the rights of all Celtic supporters, them themselves being Celtic supporters. And it's time that we all support them, whether or not you like the songs that they sing. That the songs that they sing are to the side. What they're getting pulled in for isn't about the songs that they're singing. And now we're having, through this boycott, the one positive result from this boycott is now you're having, and I'm not saying it's positive that this happens, it's an absolute disgrace, but now you're having fans who aren't even involved with the Green Brigade. You're seeing tweet after tweet of people getting searched, and the cops just make up whatever reason, that they can think up at the time. The Misuse of Drugs Act, the Electronic Records Act, and they search you, without any probable cause, without any reason. So now it's regular fans. And this gets back to the statement. First they came from the Green Brigade, and I said nothing because I wasn't part of the Green Brigade. But what are you going to do when they come for you? Are you going to stand by while other people say, well, he brought it on himself? It's absolute nonsense. This is a Celtics supporter issue. This isn't a Green Brigade issue.
Right, and it looks, again, and it harkens back to what I was saying. The club has an obligation that, like, if they're not in favor of that kind of treatment of Celtic supporters, well, it's their fucking stadium. Right. Why don't they say something to the cops?
Well, and their statement, what they came out with that statement that they released on the website a couple of weeks ago, and it came off like, we got blamed for this, and it wasn't our fault, so piss off. And it was like, if you have any complaints, let us know. But there was nothing in there that was like, okay, we're going to meet with the police. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We want to hear from you. Here's where you get in touch with us. We want to fix this. There was none of that. It was, we got blamed for all this stuff, and we're not responsible, so piss off.
I mean, not for nothing, but like if I own a house and a cop walked the fuck in and started searching my mom, I'm kicking him the fuck out. I mean, if I don't like what he's doing, he's gone. You don't just let people sit there and take liberties with the people that buy your product. It just doesn't fucking work that way.
Well said, Yampi. Thanks so much for calling in. Listen, if people don't like it, they can kiss your ass. Tell them.
And they can kiss my ass, just like the Red Bulls can kiss my ass. Just like Arbroath can kiss my ass. Just like Hearts can kiss my ass, and just like the Rangers can kiss my ass.
Very well said, sir. Hell. Thanks so much for calling in, pal.
Take it easy till Rev said bye.
Will do.
I am bye.
That's a good segue, actually. Just hearing from the Rev, and I got clearance to share the big news. Today, December 1st, 2012, the Rev is a married man. So congratulations to the Rev. And if you want to get in touch with him, as always, seek him out at RevBoy, BHOY Ultra on Twitter. I don't know. I mean, what can you say? I probably shouldn't say too much, but Rev, I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. He went and he did it anyway. And so the Rev is he's now a married man, and he will essentially have to answer to a higher power if he needs to do anything. I'm kidding, Rev.
He's now a married man.
Oh Jesus, it's Paul calling in. Here, listen to this. This is what it sounds like when Paul calls in. Feedback. Jesus Christ. Hey, Paul, turn the damn Spreaker off.
I'm doing it. Over here.
There you are. It wouldn't be a call. I saw you calling in. I'm like, there's going to be feedback. I know it. How you doing, pal? Yeah, no, it's crystal clear now. How you doing? Thanks for calling in.
Not bad. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm making out okay. Everything considered. I just received the clearance to go ahead and announce the Rev got married today to the lovely Amy Dose. So congratulations to the Rev. I was giving him a bit of stick there, but we're already getting comments in chat. Rev, what have you done? No, I can't.
Telling you, I get married in March. It's the best thing I've ever done.
Congratulations. I got married 2.5.
I just want to. I'll pass on my congratulations as well to the Rev.
Yep.
Brilliant.
I got married 2.5 years ago, and I'm with you. It was the greatest thing I ever did. I was lucky. I was lucky. We'll leave it at that.
Well, I'm not so lucky, but there you go. By the way, that call for the Rev is absolutely bang on the money. Absolutely brilliant. It's great to hear. I mean, you guys are away over the pond there. I don't mean that in a patronising way, Graham.
No,
you know that.
I know.
But to hear a guy speak like that, and you see people, and you hear from people here in Glasgow and in Scotland, and they've just not got a clue. And I'm telling you, that's made my night. That call there, really good.
Well, and what I think is interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm in the situation to a certain extent. I've never been to Scotland. I've never been to Celtic Park. I've never experienced this. But hearing the stories of it, it's just not right. I mean, there's such a lack of justice. For years and years, there was a lack of justice throughout. And now that the dead that we won't speak of anymore no longer exist, and their spawn is currently lingering in Division 3. And now it's high time that they have a go at the Celtic support in general. I think that yourself and on the Celtic Dream show last night and the Homeboys to a certain extent made a lot of great points in terms of the police now need to make up for a shortfall in their budget, and they need to justify their own existence. And they're doing that by vilifying Celtic supporters in any way possible, even if there isn't a cause for it. And it's absolutely it's atrocious. I mean, we're talking about civil rights here, and for the people who don't even understand the situation with what the Green Brigade are going through, don't even understand the terms, and then come out and say they bring it on themselves and forget them. I mean, forget them. Forget that they're Celtic supporters. Okay, first and foremost, whether or not you like, the fact that they're propping themselves up, or I don't even recall a situation where they prop themselves up. They turn up for the game every week. They're absolutely brilliant. They put out one of the greatest displays in a football ground ever in the Barcelona tie. I've never seen them lobby Celtic supporters personally and say, right, get behind us, or else, or get behind us because we're the Green Brigade. They just go out and they do it. And if people want to support them and they want to follow them and admire them, it's because of what they do, not what they say or not how they lobby.
Exactly, Graham. I mean, have you ever seen a Green Brigade member on an interview in a newspaper or on a TV station or a radio station? It just doesn't happen.
You never know.
So for people to say they just want publicity, that's just a lot of nonsense. See, guys at my age, I'm not in the Green Brigade, right? But I've got a lot of friends in the Green Brigade. I've got family in the Green Brigade that sit in that section, and I know what they are. I know who they are, and they were the same as me when I was young. And some of them are older than me. You know what I mean? And people it's just panty wetters and conformists. Excuse me, I was going to say a bad word there, but I won't since we're
we don't like any of those fucking bad words, Paul. So please try and abstain, okay? Next thing you know, we'll have Deco calling in.
Oh, he's a legend. He's an absolute legend.
I know, I get him.
But as I say, and right as we're talking about the songs there, I mean, I'm a Republican, I always have been, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the IRA. I'm proud of what they've done. And I'll sing my heart out for them anytime I can. And no idiot at Celtic Park's going to tell me not to, because there's absolutely nothing. It's not against the law. The guys that done what they did are in government. No.
Well, it gets back to my earlier point, Paul. They manufactured a specific law that was going to deliberately marginalize our support, and now we're going to call out our own boys, for being pulled up on this. Absolutely not.
Exactly. So anyway, I don't want to labour the point on it because we're on the same page here. But a wee point I heard you and the ref saying there earlier about Gary Hooper today. I never even watched the game today. I cleaned my deep fat fryer out. But anyway, I thought Gary Hooper should have played. I think he needs games. I don't know what you think yourself.
I'm caught between two minds here, where I think for a certain stretch, Gary Hooper was carrying a knock, and I think that it limited his effectiveness. Now, coming up into the tie on Wednesday, I would fully expect Gary Hooper to be playing, in spite of the fact that he hasn't been overly effective. Yes, he scored a goal against Hearts midweek, and that's phenomenal and long may it last, but through large stretches, he looked quite ineffective. We're going to need to sharpen up that finishing. No question about it. And, when you look at the personnel that were on the ground today, Lasad got a run out, didn't quite have the effectiveness. Who's left? Gary Hooper. And, yes, Gary Hooper has had a bit of a rut that he's hit recently, but over the entire body of work that Gary Hooper's had since he's been at Celtic, he's been phenomenal. His strike rate's been phenomenal, and it's only, in my opinion, it's only a matter of time before it clicks back into gear for him. It's just a matter of getting him in the right formation, the right scenario. I think a large contributor to Gary Hooper's ineffectiveness, especially last month, in addition to carrying a knock, was the formation that we were set up in, with a flat 4-4-2 with essentially, again, 4 central midfielders and you could even say 2 central midfielders and 2 center halves in the midfield. His service is going to be cut off. Full stop. And when he doesn't have service, he is completely ineffective. He does not make his own bullets to fire. He needs someone else to make the bullets for him, and then he fires the gun. That's the difference.
I agree with you. I mean, the midfield, you mentioned earlier about not enough creativity. and I think you're absolutely spot on there. I mean, Joe Ledley, I can't remember the last time Joe Ledley had a good game.
Well, Joe Ledley, I don't. If you're going to look at Ledley's, we just looked at Gary Hooper. We're going to look at Ledley's body of work. Let's say, when has he had, just a phenomenal, tremendous sort of performance? I mean, he scores the header against Rangers, last December. Of course, he scored the fantastic goal against Kilmarnock the day we won the league. He scores goals here and there, but he does so much work away from the ball. I thought he was tremendous midweek against Hearts. He did a lot of that hard work. When Hearts would have the ball and they'd break up the pitch, he was the first one there to slow them down, before he'd hand it off to one of the central defenders. He did such great work there. Got booked, or I don't think he got booked, but he got called for a couple of fouls, which were just completely out of order. He is an essential part to this team. Not to say that Kyle or certainly Victor Wanyama can't take on that role, but I like what he does in terms of taking the ball off of the defense, especially if we're going to build from the back and keep it on the ground.
I don't know. I certainly didn't see it Wednesday night. But then I'm the kind of guy that watches the game, and it's because I was a striker myself. I suppose I'm always looking for. I suppose my brother says this to me as well. You don't look at the defensive side of the game, and I suppose I'm a wee bit guilty of that at times. But I don't know. I just think because we all know he's got it in him to play better than he has been.
No question. What's your take? The Scott Brown situation seems to have divided, much of the support. I fall on the side of caution, and, much the same as when Ledley's out, Wanyama and Kyle can fill in and take on that role. I think to a large extent, Victor Wanyama and Ledley and Kyle can step in and fulfill much of the same presence that Scott Brown does. Maybe not on a leadership role, maybe not on in terms of having that same engine and that same just doggedness in the middle of the park, but certainly a lot of the same function. And when we're talking about his overall career and perhaps taking years off of his career, I think the prudent play, the safe play would be to have him go in for the surgery. It takes about 10 weeks, we're being told, to recover from it. And that would ensure that he'd be available for perhaps the League Cup final or certainly the Cup final and the end of the season where we're really going to need him. Hopefully we're going to be deep into the Champions League as well. I think that the longer we delay his having the surgery, make no mistake, he's going to need the surgery. The longer we delay it, the longer we delay his return, and that I think is going to be much more vital than perhaps the contribution he can make in the short term. Your thoughts there?
Well, see, we disagree on this subject, Graham, as you know. I think you've got to trust the guys at the club. I mean, Scott Brown is an asset. He's an asset to us, whether it be financially or on the pitch. And I don't think. I think you are kind of guessing on this matter, and I think these people at the club must know better than us. If they don't know better than us, then they shouldn't be there in the first place. And if they're saying Scott Brown's still fit to carry on and play, he came on Wednesday night and his heart and soul was in it. He was everywhere. Obviously, he's not 100%, but I don't know. I just think you've got to trust them, their decisions. If they're proved to be wrong, and I'm proved to be wrong, then I'll hold my hands up. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Paul, let me ask you a question. Because I see your side of it, and I see what you're saying, but Scott Brown, the heart of a warrior, right? There's no off switch with him. He just does not stop fighting. You cut his arms off, you cut his legs off. He's gonna squiggle his way down the park. He never stops. He's a dog chasing a stick. Now, if Neil Lennon or any of the physio staff, we don't have a doctor anymore, the physio staff or any of the surgeons or consultants, whatever, if any of them ask Scott Brown if he can't play, if he can't go forward, you know what he's going to say. You know what he's going to say. He's never going to say, right, that's me, I can't do it. He's never going to say it. Somebody at some point, my take is somebody at some point needs to step in and say, you know what, this is for your own good. This is for the best of the situation. I think we're on a situation now where we're judging based on the feedback that he's given us, and the feedback that he's given us is predictable. I
don't know about that, Graham, because I know for a fact at professional football clubs, their fitness and their mobility is tested constantly. I mean, I don't think they just go with what the player tells them. They test them. I know for a fact they test them. At least at least once every fortnight they go in for a rigorous fitness test, especially after all that. See the likes of the heart complaints that has happened with God rest him Philidoro and the boy at Bolton and all that. They're tested all the time, and their whole body's tested.
But
So,
are you not concerned, or maybe do you not have your suspicions, especially based on the fact that he can't make it past 60, 65 minutes?
aye, of course, aye, he's not 100%. He obviously needs surgery. He needs to be sorted out. But I don't know. I can see your side of the argument as well. You know what I mean, as you say. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, just trusting the staff or whatever. But I don't know.
See,
that's my feeling.
Paul, I don't trust anybody. That's sort of the basis of my mentality. So that sort of gives you a sense for where my head is and where my thinking is. Why I give such a hard time to Peter Lawwell on the board, and the only person I really have universal faith in is Neil Lennon. For whatever reason, I've met the man, I've shook his hand, and I mean, it's you get a sense from certain people, in terms of their sincerity and how genuine they are, but. Nonetheless, I listen. You make your point in a very civil and a very well thought out way, and I respect that. And we can disagree on it. And like you, if I'm wrong, and he comes out on Wednesday, I can't see him playing any more than 60, 65 minutes. If he does get on the park, has a good game, can contribute, and then has the surgery, and goes on to play until he's 35 years old, I'll hold my hands up and say, you know what, we could have kept playing him, wasn't a problem. But I fear that the other side, if I'm right, I feel that the other side is just it's terrible. It's to be avoided.
Without a doubt, Graham. I mean, I share your fears. Don't get me wrong. I share your fears, but I've just got. I don't know about these things, so I'm just hoping the guys that are there looking after him are doing the right thing. And I think. Personally, you've got to just trust him.
Yeah. Listen, my fingers crossed. My hope is that everything comes good, and we don't have a prolonged absence. Scott Brown can come back and be, as close to the Scott Brown of old as possible. I'm not sure that necessarily he ever will be the same player, but hopefully. We get to a point where he's going to have a lot of years left in a Celtic uniform and can continue on the captaincy, because I think he's done a phenomenal job in that role.
Definitely.
Paul, before we let you go, what are your thoughts going into Wednesday? Obviously, a disappointing result today, but there's some elements to be positive about, especially on the heels of the result this past Wednesday. I know it's out of character for me, looking on the bright side here, but it's just what I feel. Going into Wednesday, we have it all to play for, and I'm feeling good about it. What are your thoughts?
I'm confident. I'm definitely confident about it. The fact is, we can all. I want anybody that's maybe listening back, get all your moans out tonight and tomorrow.
That's it.
And get it all out and get it all out your system, and
That's
then
it.
get everybody positive in the lead up to this game, and let's get in there on Wednesday night. All the boys are back, and let's blow the fucking roof off the place.
Well said, pal. Paul, thanks so much for calling in. We're going to try and get a couple more people in who've been trying to get on, but really appreciate it, and hope to hear from you again.
Right, speak to you soon, Graham. God bless.
Cheers, pal. Hell.
Hail.
That's Paul from Drum Chapel. He's representing the drum, a.k.a. the hairy bum. We're full of all the colloquialisms tonight. Yampy was on or a little earlier on. I think maybe some folks thought that was the Rev. That was Yampy, Scott Richards. You can find him on Twitter at YAHMPY. He's brilliant crack, great guy, and he's absolutely huge. So that's a tremendous asset for a skinny loudmouth like me. Having Scott around is certainly fantastic. Allows me to run my mouth and do one of the old, hey, you want some of this? You want some of me? Scott, go kick some ass. And it's done. That's it. It's fantastic. No, I'm kidding. You meet me in person, I'm very withdrawn. maybe we wouldn't go that far, but nonetheless, good times. I think Simi was trying to get in touch. So Simi, if you're listening and you want to give us a call, I would love to hear from you, pal. Simi, of course, part of the Celtic Dreams 12, or the Celtic Dreams show on Spreaker. get on Spreaker and do a search for him. Listen to some of the past shows. It's absolutely phenomenal. We were trying to get Rocky Bats on today for an interview, and unfortunately that didn't line up. Rocky's handling his business. You can check him out at Rocky Bats on Twitter. You all know him from YouTube fame, putting together the poetry for the now dead Huns, and he's always brilliant crack. He is a blossoming music career as well as a book on the way. So we want to talk to him and get his thoughts about the book, get his thoughts about the music, and get his thoughts about the Huns and the Crown. Generally, it's fantastic. An Italian American from Brooklyn. Once again, not really fitting the mold. As Paul Larkin has described me and the Rev. Jesus, what the hell is that?
All right, mate.
Simmy, you stand next to the boombox.
No, well, listen, my wife's watching X Factor, so I'm just moving to another room.
Let me take this opportunity to say hello to Mrs. Simmy.
I know,
Michelle.
She can't hear you, but
that's all right. Yeah,
hello.
we heard from her on the Celtic Dream show the other night, so I wanted to say hello to her. She was tremendous. Simmy, what are your thoughts?
Anyway, but...
What are your thoughts? After this result today, bit disappointed. We're going to get our moaning. We're going to get our bitching out of the way.
I couldn't believe it. I've been actually out. My kids play football, and it was their kind of Christmas night out, Christmas Day. They were playing 10-pin bowling, and I was watching the result, and I'm no surprised, to be honest. Like, I'm no surprised, and I'm not going to slag anybody off. It's just one of the things, I think.
I don't necessarily go along with this school of thought that this was a B team that was out there, like a reserve team, and it's. I mean, we weren't at full strength. We had some of our starting 11 on the pitch today. I mean, we had Ambrose, we had Matthews was on, we had Wanyama. Miku and Watt. I mean, we have enough firepower out there to get the result, and we just didn't see it through. Lack of focus and lack of composure, like I said, in the final third, and especially within the box. We had our chances, clanging them off the bar, hit more woodwork than, I can't even think. Hit more woodwork than, I don't know, the Sherwood Forest. There you go. Nottingham Forest.
I'm getting ripped by my Sevco pals, right, are trying to rip me, and I'm not even answering them because I can't even be bothered. They're like, the things that are coming away, they're just...
Simmy, listen, yes. They'll have their chance to play Arbroath next season. Exactly. If they get promoted. If they get promoted, they'll have their crack. They got to be patient.
No, all I was going to say was, I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm half jaked because
I don't know what I'm going to say either half the time. You just come on and you vent and you talk about your thoughts from the game, and that's it. You leave it here and you go onward. I mean, we have Spartak coming in. They're reeling.
Right? Do you know? Right? Honestly, right? We're concentrating and getting into the last 16, right? And see if we do, then I couldn't really give a shit. Right,
that's true.
Because and see when it comes down to it, right? We've not been knocked out of anything. We're still in everything, right? So when it comes down to it, who gives a shit? It's our home, right? Well, it's true.
Are you sure you're drinking? Because you're talking way too much sense.
Well, I don't know. That's Strongbow. That's what it does.
Yeah, love it.
When it's bow time.
It's definitely bow time, pal. Well, listen, I'm positive going into the tie. I mean, it's everything to play for. If we don't, if for some reason we don't wind up on the right side of things on Wednesday, we still have European football to look forward to. But exactly. I have a really good feeling, going into this.
I'm confident, and if anybody says to you, right, see 6 months ago, if it says, right, you'll beat Barcelona, you've immaterial about what else has happened, but you've got a chance to be in the last 16, right, in the Champions League, right, and right, we're top of the SPL, right, would you have taken it, or would you know? Would you be moaning like fuck, like everybody else is, right?
Simi, listen. You've listened to the show enough. You know I'm gonna moan no matter what.
No,
that's what I do.
Hey, that's your job, though. That's your job. Your job is to moan, right? But if somebody says that to you, right, would you take that? You would grab their hand and rip it off them, right?
No question.
After them, man, right?
No question.
So, and even though, right, even if we didn't, we just get into the UEFA Cup, right? Then it's better than we've done for a long time. So,
no question.
Jobs are good, Jen. You know.
Yeah. Very well put, Simi. You've put things into perspective here, and you've gotten us refocused. We got our venting out of the way, and it's everything towards Wednesday. But in the meantime, it's bow time for you and me, pal. I gotta hit the bow time myself. Fantastic.
Hey, I'll catch you later.
Cheers, pal. Hell.
Thank you. Cheers. Hail.
That's Simi calling in. You can't tell he's been drinking, I'm sure. But fantastic. I love a bit of Simi. And he's a fixture on the Celtic Dream show. I'm like the punt machine tonight. Enough of that. So I guess based on that, we'll wrap it up. But listen, it's not acceptable, the result. We should have buried them. We should have had the mentality where we were going to bury them. We were going to finish, which is something that's been lacking. We need to sort out. But this team has it. You know, they have it in them. They have the capability. And I have full confidence that they will. They'll find it again. They had it on Wednesday, and they'll have it again. I mean, come on. We were walking out of the pub today, and everybody's like, you know, fuck's sake, that's inexcusable. A 1-0 on Wednesday, and I think everything goes away because we know that Benfica are not going to get a result at the Camp Nou. There, I said it. That's right. I said it. Benfica aren't going to get a result at the Camp Nou. So we get the 1-0, and we're sorted. We're through. And that fixes everything. So it's up to Neil Lennon, it's up to the boys to go ahead and do it. Look, it's a midweek game, you know, and when I'm not on the air, we typically have a good result. So forget it. That's it. Like Yampy says, you know, you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. Or kiss his ass. Or somebody's ass. I don't know. But, yeah, we're talking about the Rev. So the Rev got married today. Congratulations to the Rev. Big day. There you go. That was, I'm sure, ear-breakingly loud. Yeah, all the sound effects. Shut up. I can't figure out how to get the sound effects, not the echo. I'll have to sort it out. Sort it out, Spreaker. Get the finger oot. Yeah, so big day for the Rev, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Have some things that are keeping me down here, but hopefully they'll have more of a big ceremony, sort of wide scale. He just sent me a message, and he is pissed. So congratulations. Not going to be the last time. But no, Amy's a fantastic girl, and many years of happiness. And yeah, our little boy's all grown up. Everybody, the Rev. There's a Mrs. Rev. I wonder if she's going to go by Mrs. Rev. She'll take that as her last name, Amy Rev. That would make invitations kind of difficult. Rev and Amy Rev. Can you imagine that on a return address sticker? Rev and Amy Rev, 111 Fenian Way. All right, that's enough. Thanks so much to everybody for joining us, and we're really glad that you're all here, as you are every week. It's good to sort of commiserate, get our thoughts together. Great calls once again, good patter tonight. And, listen, I'm not being positive because I got any sort of feedback and, I need to cut down on the negativity. Trust me. When I feel that there's something to be negative about, and I have analysis to talk about with it, I'm gonna. But on the flip side, and remember this, even when we get a bad result, and the analysis that I put together has positive strains, I'm gonna highlight that as well. And there were things to be positive about. We know Dylan McGeoch's a player. he needs to get more starting time, especially when we get this European pitch out of the way. He needs to get more playing time. Full stop. We saw a bit of Wee Rab, and I was impressed. I think in a super subs sort of role, he's exceptional in traffic. He's just a wee guy. If he can work on some of the finishing, that'd be a help. Miku, he's got his pluses and minuses. He's still far from convincing. He should have taken at least 2 goals from today, but we'll keep working on it. And I'm not a big fan of the number 7 jersey going to anybody. No, I don't care where they used to play. But I digress. Tony Watt, look, 18-year-old kid. We know what we're dealing with him. And looks like Izzy's a little ways off. I think that I'd be surprised if he starts on Wednesday, if he plays on Wednesday. It looks like he needs some time to try and play himself back into form. But that's a decision for Neil Lennon. And look, nobody's calling for his head, okay? I can be critical of him and not call for his head. I think he's doing a fantastic job when you look at the overall body of work. But we need to tighten up a lot of those micro issues. That's all I'll say. So, I'm not sure if there's a Celtic Dreams or a Free Galley Boys show tonight, but we'll have something covering that on Twitter. Thank you so much to everyone who donated to the Movember cause for the month of November. I shaved the hideous mustache off that I was carrying, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again. It was absolutely atrocious, but well worth it. Very good cause. We raised some money, and the homeboys were involved with that as well. Hail Media in general. So great cause, great effort by all who were involved with that. And congrats to the Rev. Also want to, there was a tragedy today in Kansas City, and I'd be remiss if I didn't send our thoughts and prayers out to everybody who was affected by the events in Kansas City. A Kansas City Chiefs football player today, a linebacker, Javon Belcher, tragically shot and killed his girlfriend and then went to the Kansas City Chiefs facility, Arrowhead Stadium, and committed suicide. And it's very sad. Just absolutely shocking. And I don't know how they're going to play this game tomorrow. I'm really hoping that they postpone it. I just can't even fathom how those players are expected to go out and play a game 24 hours from now. Just very sad, another victim of gun violence, and it's just senseless, and something needs to be sorted out to address it. But that's just my opinion. But thoughts and prayers to anybody who's affected by that. Very sad and puts everything into perspective. How lucky we are, and just puts everything in order of importance, especially with the holidays coming, and 1-1, right? Not the end of the world. We'll get another crack at them. And hey, the best part is it won't be played at Celtic Park, right? Right. All right. Yeah, the dopey jokes are flowing like water. That's my cue to wrap it up. So, for the Rev, who's off getting hitched, I don't know why anybody would do that. I mean, no. Congratulations to the Rev. And for everybody that called in, thanks so much. We'll wrap it up with Shane McGowan and the Pogues as usual. Hail, and keep the faith. We'll talk to you soon.
The island, it is silent now, but the ghosts still haunt the waves. And a torch lights up a famished man who fortune could not save. Did you work upon the railroads? Did you ride the streets of crime? Were your dollars from the White House? Were they from the 5 and dime? Did the old songs talk to cheer you? and it does still make you cry. Did you count the months and years, or did your teardrops quickly dry? I know it was not to be on a cupping ship. I came here and I never even got so far that they could change my name. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean to a land of opportunity that some of them will never see. Fortune prevailing across the western ocean, their bellies full, their spirits free. They'll break the chains of poverty and they'll dance. In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand on Broadway, like the first man on the moon. And a blackbird broke the silence as you whistled, it's so sweet. And in Brendan Behan's footsteps, I danced up and down the street. And we said goodnight to Broadway, giving it our best regards. Took our hats to Mr. Cohen, dear old Times Square's favourite bird. Then we raised a glass to JFK and a dozen more besides. When I got back to my empty room, I suppose I must have cried. Thousands are sailing again across the ocean with a hand of opportunity. Trust tickets